The Stinger sedan has been Kia's halo model for about 4 years now, but that's about to change in 2022 with this, the EV6. Now, we're still in 2021, so we're not going to drive the car today, unfortunately, but we are going to get up close and personal with Kia's first dedicated EV. Let's take a look. The EV6 is the first of 7 electric Kias that will utilise the Hyundai Motor Group's electric global modular platform, with Kia alone predicting nearly 1 million battery EV sales by 2030. Unlike the Kia Niro EV that has hybrid and plug-in hybrid siblings, the EV6 was designed from the ground up to be purely an electric car. It looks far more interesting too, which shouldn't be a surprise when it's a twin to the retro-futuristic Hyundai Ioniq 5. As with the Ioniq 5, the EV6 is a bigger car than it may appear in pictures. About 4.7 metres in length, so it's about 6 centimetres longer than the Ioniq 5, but it's also 6 centimetres lower in the roofline. So that really gives it this sporty, sleek look, very different to the supersized hatchback of the Hyundai. Now, the wheelbase, 2.9 metres, so about 10 centimetres shorter than the Ioniq 5s. But this wheelbase, the distance between the two axles, well, that's longer than that of the Kia Sorento 7-seater SUV. I don't know about you, could just be me, but this does remind me of the Jaguar I-Pace, and that is a compliment. Now, this is a GT line model, a mid-range model, sitting on 20-inch wheels. Now, I'm just going to get my little handy guide to the EV6 lineup. Now, we don't know pricing yet for this EV6, unfortunately, so a little bit of a guessing game. We do know that the Ioniq 5 starts from about $72,000 in rear-wheel drive form. So this GT line is a mid-spec model, but below that there will be a base model, rear-wheel drive. The GT line will be available as a rear-wheel drive and an all-wheel drive. 5.2 seconds 0 to 100 for the all-wheel drive GT line. That's pretty quick, and that makes it a match for the Ioniq 5 all-wheel drive. But in late 2022 or early 2023, we don't know the exact timing yet, there is going to be a GT flagship model. And this is really exciting. 430 kilowatts, 740 newton meters, capable of 0 to 100 in 3.5 seconds. I can tell you that is faster than a Porsche Taycan 4S. Pretty impressive. A quick look at the rear end, and arguably the most striking angle of the EV6, certainly my favourite, and particularly with this stunning light bar that arcs right across the back. GT line badge here for denoting this spec model, and just in case you're wondering, where's the power socket? Hidden in the back right there, that's rather clever. Now let's also have a look at boot space. Kia is quoting 520 litres of luggage capacity, only a fraction down on the Ioniq 5 and only about 23 litres or so down on a Sportage SUV. So quite a bit of space really. There is a similar issue to the Hyundai though. The boot is shallow, so not perfect. Do get some release levers though, both sides for folding down the rear seat backs, 60-40 split. A couple of other things to show you here. Smart little Kia bag for your portable home charger. And then there's this contraption. This is called the vehicle to load adapter. I won't bother taking that all off now, but basically you would plug that into there, and then in here is your classic 3-pin home power socket. So you can plug anything in here and it turns the EV6 into a portable power source for, I don't know, an air conditioner, a TV, laptop, or camping appliances more likely. Very clever feature though, about 3.6 kilowatts. Let's take a look inside. As you might expect from a Kia that has a wheelbase longer than the Sorento 7-seater SUV, well, there's a lot of generous legroom here in the back seat of the EV6. Lots of clearance. Something I've noticed though compared with the Ioniq 5, and I'm sorry to bring that up again, but it's just such an obvious comparison point, but I'm more conscious of the roof here. And of course, this EV6 does have a lower roof height. Toe space, there's a bit on the tight side as well. But a very comfortable bench, and you've got a lever at the side, and you can play round with the recline position. A little bit squeaky, but this is a pre-production model, so we're not going to be too finicky about that. Flat floor here, one of the advantages of a battery platform. So I reckon you can even get an adult into the middle seat there. Storage, well, we've got an armrest, a couple of cup holders there, seat back pouches in each of the seat backs, dedicated bottle holders in the doors, then for other convenience, vents in the B pillars. We've got a couple of USB-C ports, one each in the seat backs. And these are possibly the most weird headrests that I've seen in a car, very strange looking, but they form part of this thing that we've seen in the Sportage SUV, coat hangers. My first thoughts in the front of the EV6, how far have Kia interiors come in a decade? In fact, take a look at a 2011 Sportage cabin in this picture here. See what I mean? Now, I won't go into too much detail on materials and quality here because this is a pre-production model. Suffice to say, there are some nice textures and patterns going on here in the cabin. Couple of features taken from the Sportage GT line flagship, this curved display that goes right across the dash here, incorporating your infotainment display and your driver display here, and then also this dual function panel along here, which I loved on the Sportage. This one does exactly the same thing. So here at the moment we're presented with our climate controls, fan speed, temperature dials, but if I press this button, that turns it into your media system with navigation, radio, media. Very clever. Storage, well, one of the things to say, comparing the Ioniq 5 again, front cabin doesn't quite feel as open as that car, and that's mainly because the center console is fixed, where in the Ioniq you can move it backwards and forwards a bit, so you almost have this clear path to the passenger side. Still very useful console, though. We've got cup holders, bin in here, wireless charging tray on there, and then there's more storage underneath this big open area here. A couple more USBs up here. You're not going to be short on places for recharging all your smartphones and devices. Cup holders, or rather bottle holders in the doors. Not much room for anything else. Another difference to the Ioniq 5, and not necessarily a good one, the glove box. Well, in the Hyundai, it was a pull-out drawer, which was really clever. That's just more of a conventional pull-down. I said we couldn't drive the EV6 today, but I can chat to someone who has driven it, Graeme Gambold, chassis guru, chief ride and handling engineer for Kia Australia. Hello, Graeme.
Hey, Jez. How are you?
I'm very well. Now, I believe you're a bit excited about this car and possibly saying this is the best Kia you've driven yet. It's a big call.
It's a big call, isn't it? But I've got to tell you, it really is. And it's not just our local handling program that's brought us that, it's the whole package of the car. I really think these dedicated EV vehicles redefine driving as we currently know it. And this car is so good, especially on a country winding road.
Yeah.
Its power delivery is just sensational and it's confident.
Well, can I ask you about one of the challenges we seem to have seen from manufacturers of these battery platform cars is that big weight of the battery download presents problems, and particularly in ride comfort. How have you addressed that?
We've addressed it through a lot of careful tuning, but we've also been benefited by a new shock absorber technology from our supplier ZF, which is a German technology, which is a frequency sensitive damper. So as the vehicle's running down a rough country Australian road, and we're looking for body control from 2 tonnes of vehicle going up and down, the damper gives us that, but then we don't compromise the urban ride by having the valve open for the very small little road undulations that we get in broken roads, which are so typical in Australia.
That's right, yeah, very tricky roads here. So even we know we've driven cars overseas that can handle and ride very well, and then they get to Australia and all a bit of a mess.
It's a tough market. It's one of the reasons why we really need to tune our vehicles for local conditions, because the local conditions really are very demanding. And believe it or not, our road driving speeds are quite high here. 100 kilometres per hour on a broken, poorly maintained country road is pretty much the norm. So that asks a lot of the vehicle dynamics and the tune, and especially when the vehicle starts getting heavy. Even though the weight of this vehicle is not really a problem for it, it's got plenty of power and it copes with the weight no problem, but it throws in problems with the tuning of the suspension. So you need technologies, like I say, like this frequency sensitive damping control.
Can you tell us a bit about the approach that Kia generally wanted with the EV6? Because it's, you know, we've said it's quite a sporty, sleek-looking car. So have they aimed for quite a sporty drive?
Yes, they have, and it's the dimensional size of an SUV, but it drives like a sports car. Yeah, it's very similar in its dynamic to our Stinger, and we've followed that path. We've tuned it around being a very confident, dynamic car to drive, and it does it very, very well.
All right, well, we can't wait to drive it. We've got to wait till early 2022. But we have driven it overseas with Angus McKenzie, our Wheels contributor. And if you want to have a look at that written review, click on that link above. Graeme, thank you very much.
No worries, thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this video on the Kia EV6 walk around. And if you did, please give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to see all the latest Wheels videos.